So hello everyone, and thank you for being here. I can see we have 31 people in the room, and I know some of you are not in Greece at the moment, but we do have very many great colleagues, and this event is targeted to our Greek colleagues. So I thought of actually doing something for all of us, for teachers who live in different parts of Greece and who work in different contexts. Some of you work in private language schools, some of you work in the public sector. Hopefully we have some new colleagues with us that have just started their careers, or even people that haven't started yet but are considering becoming EFL teachers. And it seems to me that it's very difficult for somebody who doesn't live in a city where there are training centers. Sometimes it's very difficult for them to move on with their training, to move on with their education, with their development. And what usually happens in these cases, at least what has happened to all my colleagues and the people that I have worked with, is that they feel trapped in the classroom. Most of you that are here are well-trained colleagues, and you know most of the things that I will say. So please excuse me if this is something that you already know, but for some of you there might be something that you haven't thought of, or something that will inspire you to start your training, your further education, your further development. So for our newer colleagues, one of the first options that one has is the CELTA. And for many years, what we've known as the CELTA is the face-to-face CELTA. The most famous one, if you like, is an intensive course that lasts for 4 weeks. This is where somebody living in, I don't know, in Volo, for example, needs to go to a training center, like to come to Athens, to our center, and stay there for 4 weeks. So if you like, they need to log out of their lives completely for 4 weeks and focus on one course. Or they have the option to attend a part-time course, but really, if you don't live in the city where your training center is, or anywhere in near proximity, this option is not the true option for you. This is, of course, not something that is, unique to Greece and to our Greek colleagues, but also to any other country, really. And Cambridge designed a new, if you like, CELTA course, the online CELTA course, which is exactly the same as the face-to-face, the same content, the same assessment, the same teaching practice. The only difference is that that there is an online component covering all the theory bit of the CELTA, all the input sessions. And instead of 4 weeks, a colleague needs to come to a training center, to go to a training center just for 2 weeks and complete their teaching practice requirement. This is a very good opportunity for people who do not live in big centers like Athens or Thessaloniki. And this is good because they only need to leave their job or their family or any other commitments for 2 weeks instead of 4. They don't need to pay for their accommodation for 4 weeks. They will only pay for 2. And also it will allow them to complete their initial teacher training while they're working. So they don't need to take time off work. And I know that in our reality, taking time off work is something that can no longer happen, unfortunately. So the idea for this course is that you start with some core language and teaching methods, and you study them from home by participating in interactive activities, in discussions, in live classes. You continue by coming to, going to your center, like our center in Athens, Of course, you like the image you created it, Marisa. So you come to Athens, you complete your teaching practicum, then you go back home, you write your assignments, you complete your input sessions, more interactive tasks, more more discussions with your colleagues and your tutor, and then at the end of this 12-week period, you complete your course and you end up with a qualification that is internationally valued. Of course, most of you here are not new colleagues, you are more experienced colleagues, and you know that the next step after the CELTA is the Delta course, which is, again, a qualification that not many people have, and those of you, I know some of you work in international settings, you go abroad, you teach over the summer or in other periods of time. Some of you actually leave and work abroad, like I know George is in Saudi. Qualifications like the Delta that are advanced qualifications are needed in those settings. And one needs to complete all 3 modules. So you know how these are. I'm not going to go into detail on the different modules. I only want to say that the Delta, at least the course that we provide, is an integrated course. It means there is one course for the 3 modules, and it prepares you for the assessment of all 3 modules. This is the original course, if you like, the first one that we launched. And similarly to the CELTA, there are 2 options: an intensive option where you study at our center for 8 weeks, but there is also the part-time, the blended option, for those of you who are not based in Athens. And for them, what happens is that all the input sessions are delivered online in an online classroom, very similar to the one that we are here, over the course of 24 weeks. And there are 4 weeks that you have to be in Athens to complete your teaching practicum. So somebody, again, that is not in a country, in a city, you know, like Athens, or in any city that is in near proximity to Athens, this perhaps is their best choice. I think I have 2 minutes left, so I will proceed to other shorter courses, because, you know, some of you either have your CELTA, you don't want to go for the Delta yet, you might not even have the CELTA now, but you want to focus on a shorter course that is targeted to an area that you want to focus and specialize and improve. So one of these courses is English for Teachers. This is particularly useful to non-native users of English who want to become teachers, which, you know, who naturally, like myself, want more advanced courses of English, because what happens is that we typically finish our English education and our English language education at C2 level as learners, and then we become teachers. But there are things for us to see. There are more advanced areas of language that we can focus on, and this is a course like this. There is another course. I know some of you in this room are studying for this course at the moment, teaching young learners. I know, Rob, there is 1 minute left. Teaching young learners fully online. And this is a course that you cannot find around, because most organizations offer courses like the CELTA, which is intended for, you know, it is for adult learners. And in our reality, we do teach young learners, we teach teenagers, we teach very young learners, and this is a course that some of us really need to know how to go about, you know, managing a class full of young learners. Other courses are, you know, ELT management for those of you who want to proceed to managerial positions, becoming director of studies, becoming managers of schools. Those of you who want to focus on grammar in particular, and cover areas of grammar, both, you know, both explicitly and implicitly, to be able to analyze language for yourself, but also for your learners. If you don't want to attend any of these courses because you cannot afford them, because you cannot, you don't have the time to do that, you can attend events like this one, like EFLtalks. And I know Rob runs events like these all year long. You can attend our free webinars on the last Thursday of each month. You don't need to pay for them. You just need to be online on the last Thursday of each month, follow our Facebook page, and we have webinars on any topic you like. Or, of course, as Marisa suggests in the chat, you can follow ELT Chat on Twitter. I think my 10 minutes are over. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and thank you, Rob, for the invitation. And I'm looking forward to the next talks.